Hey everybody, how are you guys? Yeah, here we are, still doing our thing. Today is Wednesday, April the 15th, and this is day 31 for me in self-quarantine, and I'm just loving it. Loving it. This is a fake it till you make it kind of thing, everybody. So this is video 21, which isn't that funny because when I started this video series, I said I was going to do 19 videos for COVID-19, not knowing really how long we were going to be here. But that's okay. That's okay because the more videos we get to do, the more fun we have, right? All right. So the video kind of theme for today, if you will, is a typical first year for a middle or high school soprano, okay? Let me say that again. Typical first year, meaning typical first year of study for a legitimate soprano who is middle school, high school, okay? So this is not a belter. These are not songs that require a big voice. So these are going to help you as singers and as coaches. These are going to help your students to begin their study of technique while building confidence. There's nothing that breaks confidence in a middle school or more than trying to belt in the studio. I'm not saying belting is bad. That is not what I'm saying, because I definitely teach belting. But what I am saying is there are certain people who are belters or who are going to grow into being a belter, and there are certain students who will come to you who are just not belters, okay? And if we are trying to compare them to bigger voices, or they have this aspiration to have this huge belt voice, they're always going to be singing out of tune. They're going to be hurting their voice. It's better off if we help them and guide them towards finding repertoire that is great for them, okay? So, you know, when I first started, well, I never studied voice until I went to college. I never had a voice teacher. I grew up in a really small town. It just wasn't a thing. I grew up in the 70s. It really just wasn't a thing. And, you know, when I was singing in high school, you know, the beginning of the late 70s, early 80s, I mean, everybody was super jealous because I had all these high notes and I was the soprano, you know. That's not the way it is anymore, okay? So, singers who are sopranos, there is a place for you. It's just with the right material. That's where you're going to be successful. And coaches, you've got to guide these girls towards singing the right material so that they are going to build up their confidence. Because, you know, the more aware they are of judging themselves, you know, and judging themselves, the more they pull back on the voice. So we're not getting the support. We're not getting a full voice. We're getting a lot of, you know, up here. So anyway, this is a typical first year. We are a very much a working studio. My studio is a working studio. And what I mean by that is my students are out auditioning all the time. They're going to workshops all the time. They are preparing for performances all the time. That is my philosophy. It's not to come into the studio and just study songs all year long. Because if you don't have something to apply that study to, I feel like it's really mismanaged time. All right. So that's what has worked for me for 35 plus years. It may not be what works for you. So singers, I'm talking to you now. It might not be what your teacher believes in, and coaches, it may not be the way you run your studio, and that's okay. This is just what has worked for me. Okay. So these are 15 songs that I believe are great for, let's say, a girl who is in like 6th grade to maybe 9th grade, or even 10th or 11th grade if it's a really beginning voice. Okay. All right, good. Number 1, Wouldn't It Be Lovely from My Fair Lady, a just nice mid-tempo It just sits in the voice really loverly-ish. See what I did there? Yeah, it sits in the voice. You don't have to push it anything. It's not anything that requires you to be big. All right, so you've got a lot of time to be precise, and it's a pretty song. Number 2, there's a place called Home from A Christmas Carol. This is A Christmas Carol, the version that was done at Madison Square Garden in New York. Okay, number 3, Popular from Wicked. This sets really well in this kind of voice, but it is tricky, okay? I've had girls come into my studio just to coach Popular coming in from another studio. So they come to me for presentation coachings, and they think they know this song. Oh, brother, brother, brother. And probably 80% of the pitches are not even close to being right. So you've got to take your time with Popular. Just because you can listen to this a million times, you know, on Spotify or whatever, does not mean that your voice is singing the right notes. So this is tricky. Take your time with this. Take your time with this piece. Number 4, Matchmaker from Fiddler. Perfect piece to start out for a beginning soprano. Number 5, I Still Believe in Love from They're Playing Our Song. This is a Marvin Hamlish musical, so it's got that really 70s pop ballad kind of song. A feel to this song, and it's great for certain auditions depending on what your students are out auditioning for, or girls, what you're out auditioning for. All right. 6, this is a great song for a coffee house. If their high school does a coffee house, or if their church does a coffee house, or you hold a coffee house performance for your students. She Used to Be Mine from Waitress. It's a great little song to stand behind the mic and just do. And and don't let it be just about the singing. This is an acting piece, because it really musically doesn't really go anywhere unless you're doing something with it from a performance aspect. Okay. Next, 7, this is tricky, and this is probably a recital song, like the end of the first year. The Trolley Song from Meet Me in St. Louis. Not something that is not manageable for a first-year student, but you've got to take time. So if you have a June recital on your schedule, not this year, unfortunately, but in normal years in our lives, don't start this in May. This is a start in January kind of song, all right? So that all of that staccato is really in a great place. Well, it clips along in a very up-tempo way, but you're going to start this in staccato, okay? All right, great. 8, Somewhere That's Green. Oh, just so nice. It's just so great to have in your rep. Really, really nice. Number 9. You've always got to have Rodgers and Hammerstein. Always, always, always. I don't care who you are. You have to have Rodgers and Hammerstein in your book. So if you are a beginning, legit soprano, or a really, really advanced belter, or anywhere in between, you have to have Rodgers and Hammerstein in your book. Okay? Because you are going to end up auditioning for Rodgers and Hammerstein shows. And Rodgers and Hammerstein, it's just, they lie so well in the voice. It's just a great... it's a great part of the musical theater canon, coaches to begin your students with, okay? So Out of My Dreams from Oklahoma. Number 10, I put this on here because if your students are out auditioning, or girls, if you are out auditioning for dance musicals, say anything from Crazy for You to 42nd Street to whatever, classic dance musicals, you need a classic dance musical up-tempo, okay? Go Into Your Dance from 42nd Street does not require a big, huge voice, and it's really, really great, okay? A nice audition song. Number 11, My New Philosophy. So depending on, girls, depending on your age, and depending on your personality, and depending on what kind of an audition or performance this is, you know, I think this can work for everybody. So My New Philosophy from Your Good Man, Charlie Brown. It has its challenges. So just because this is from a Charlie Brown, musical doesn't mean it's baby stuff. It's not, okay? It has its challenges. Number 12, Into the Woods from Into the Woods, the title song. That's your Sondheim. I don't care who you are. If you're a beginner, if you're advanced, if you're legit, if you're belle, if you cross over, if you sing in your mix, whoever you are, you need a Sondheim in your rep, okay? And so this is a great one to start with. A lot of people will think of On the Steps of the Palace for a legitimate soprano, but that is not a beginner piece. That I would say that's into your second or third year of study, okay? So again, we're thinking about what's best to get going with, to get started with. You don't want to do things that are too hard and then you don't have success with them and then you feel like, oh my God, I suck. Because we feel that way enough anyway. Okay? So set yourself up for success. Coaches, set your students up for success and do things that are manageable, that has some challenges that you're going to work towards, but not that's like way over and above what can be handled at the present time. Okay? All right, great. 13, y'all need a Disney princess thing because, you're going to be auditioning for Shrek or Little Mermaid or Beauty and the Beast or blah, 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 blah. So Part of Your World from The Little Mermaid is a great one to get started with. And high school girls, don't poo-poo that, all right? Number 14, this is another Rodgers and Hammerstein. This is Honey Bun, an up-tempo from South Pacific. Super great song to have in your book. This can be sung by a legit voice, by a mixed voice, or by a belter. So coaches, you've just got to kind of regulate that for your students. And be watching, how you want to approach this particular song with your students. Girls, you don't want to oversing this one, okay? It's not required, all right? And last but not least, Good Night, My Someone from The Music Man. That's a beautiful ingenue, girl meets boy kind of thing. So that can be great for, an ending recital. It can be really nice for auditions along the way throughout the year, that kind of thing. So again, this is it's just an example of 15 songs that would potentially be in a first year sopranos repertoire during that first year of study in your studio, or girls as you are studying, with a teacher. Now, every teacher, handles this a little bit differently, the choice of repertoire. So some students, girls, you can go to your teacher and say, hey, I've been listening to blah, blah, blah. Can we do this? And the teacher will be sure, And then there are other teachers who say, nope, can't do it. I tend to be the latter. I'm going to tell you what we're going to sing, and you have to trust me. And even if you don't like it the first few lessons, you're probably going to grow to like it, all right? That I would say that's 95% of the time what happens in my studio. Sometimes advanced students will bring me things that I don't know, that are more contemporary, and because they've been listening to college showcases or they've, whatever, they've found the music somehow. And they bring it in, and I'm like, yeah, absolutely, let's do that. So, of course, there's rep that I don't know about, too. But for the most part, girls, don't question what your coach is giving you. Trust for a little while at least, and really give your all to those pieces, and then let's see where they settle in. And coaches, don't be afraid to be the one to say, I choose the repertoire because I know the rep better than you do. I know your voice better than you do, and I know what the end goal is and how we're going to get there. All right? Okay, good. So that was video 21. And who knows, tomorrow, the next day, I'll be back to do something else. And I'm going to be announcing later today. So in this afternoon or tonight, I'm going to be announcing something really, really exciting. So be watching Facebook, be watching my website, carademanuele.com, for this announcement of something really, really exciting that you can be involved in virtually. Okay, so I will see you all. Keep singing. If you have questions, you know where to find me. If you are interested in me sending you a copy of this music, any of these pieces of music that you don't have, or coaches that you don't have in your book either, I would be happy to do that. Okay, so I will see you soon. All right, bye.